Well, it's been like a couple of weeks since the last studio log, and in the meantime we basically left pre-production. So we have what we call the vertical slice, which is like a sufficient amount of art assets, animations and gameplay mechanics in the game that can be tested. The build is up on our website. It's overall still in a pretty rough state, but I got to implement a bunch more things, and we are now building the actual game.
So what we're currently working on is extending the amount of animations that will extending the amount of animations that are happening in the game, which means there's a lot of cooperative actions going on during the game where both characters, the dog and the kid, are interacting with each other. There's going to be additional animations for attaching items to the snowman.
What's pulling and pushing in Spanish?
Imagine, for some reason,
Trekken?
maybe I mistake pushing and pulling, and the actions, you know, the push is a animation of a pull, and the pull is animation of a push.
Are they for different characters?
No, it's all for Chocomel.
Yeah, rather than changing the name, just replace the actions, call them correctly.
Maybe Julian
Also mistakes it.
maybe take the pull for the push and the push for the pull. Because everything is relative to the point of view. No?
I don't think that's how pulling and pushing.
No? I mean, if Chocomel is pushing Pinda, Pinda is being pulled by Chocomel.
No. Pinda's bebeing pushed by Chocomel and Chocomel is pushing Pinda. That's how it works. Are you saying that when you pull a door open, it's being pushed by you?
So this animation that we're looking at is the pushing one?
Yes. No, this is the pulling. No, this is the pushing, yeah. It's pushing the door with the head like that. And then what I want is this.
But you said...
This is the pulling.
But you said the door interaction is pulling.
I don't know what I say. I say too many things. But don't take me account of all the things I say. I talk too much.
But how do I communicate with you then?
I don't know. This week we are going to work on some cinematics, some animations that they involve the two characters, and then finish up the rest of the animations that they're almost there. Most of them are already approved. I think that's it for me. I didn't try the game yet. I want to wait until the final release. I want the full AAA game. I don't know about the other studios. This is my first game. I want final stuff, not half-assed shit.
Whenever you see like 305 yellow error messages pop up, remember, they're only yellow. Just ignore it.
What about all the red ones?
There's no one.
There's no red ones.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you're just seeing things.
oh, okay. Cool.
So yeah, close the program, delete the cache, reopen the program so that it imports everything, see 1200 error messages, close the program again, and then reopen it, and then it will only be 300.
Wait, I started out with 300. That was the original problem, right?
Yeah, then I don't know.
Okay.
You're on your own.
The animations are split into different categories, so loops, actions, I don't remember all of them. And then there's cinematics. So the cinematic ones are some events that get triggered by a specific moment. So for example, the beginning of the entire thing is a cinematic.
Yeah, it's from the menu screen that you can see behind me or not. I don't know in this shot. So from the menu to the start of the game, when the player gets control and gets to run around. You just start out in the menu screen, you choose new game, and then it kind of pans to the characters. The title card goes up. You see that the dog wakes up and the kid finishes the snowman. You see that the kid wants to keep decorating the snowman. It's missing a hat. And then you know to go into the world, Publico did a test, and it turned out that maybe it would be nice to have a storyboarding version of this so we can iterate faster and then sign it off like the exact beats. I'm happy I did it, but actually there was no time, so it was like an extra little excursion. And now there's an outro to be done, but not this week.
We'll take another look at it and then we'll animate it, animate whatever we have. Besides that, I'm cursing the rigger. Did an awful job. I'm wearing 2 hats. I can punch myself later. Yeah, it's going well. I'm making a little boy grab a tennis ball and put it as a nose on a snowman.
Is it one of those mornings where I have to delete my cache twice?
You didn't do that yesterday evening, then maybe.
I did it yesterday evening and this morning, just out of spite. But maybe Godot wants me to clean the cache again.
Well, I mean, the recommendation was every time you make a change.
Every time I open anything,
Yes.
I clean the cache. Last time we talked, we were working on the vertical slice. I worked on a lot of bush assets that were still required for set dressing. And then I spent some time making the pond area a little bit prettier. I tried improving the lighting a little bit. I added these little pools of light everywhere to improve the mood a little bit and also direct the player. So this week I've actually started to model the gate and the fence, which is going to be an important part that guards one item, and there's going to be a puzzle to find your way into that gated area and recover an item. So those elements need to be made, of course, and UV unwrapped and shaded and everything and put there. Suffice to say, we're going to have a game very soon, and it's going to be exciting.
I went over the planning, I went over all of the time that I have left every single day in every week until the end of April. It was kind of the sobering realization of, yeah, I don't have time for most of the things that I was still planning to put in.
It's similar to when you're starting out to make films. You're very naive and you're thinking, oh yeah, you can do anything, it's all possible. And then you start doing things and you're digging yourself into, you're basically running against a wall and you find out it's actually really difficult.
I made a list of tasks that I can hand over to other people, Andy, Bo and Simon, to help me out finishing all the things that need to be implemented for the final game.
This week I wrapped up multiple assets, which is nice, they got approved. And I'm taking over some tasks from Julian, focusing on a certain section of the map, which is the clearing, and I'm trying to block it out a bit differently. We discussed how players could possibly navigate the environment, so I basically just imported it in Godot and playing around with it right now. We have most of the props now. They're scattered throughout the environment, and the kid can pick them up and bring them back to the snowman. So overall, we need to do a final material pass. Simon created a new material node where we can add like wear and vertex paint, which is quite nice. So I'm gonna do a pass. Yeah. It's good. It's good, man.
I become more like Pablo. I fucked up. What happened is we're only supposed to animate the character because that data will be exported to Godot. If I animate other objects that will not be translated correctly to Godot, that means that the constraints need to also be on the character because the constraints are also animated by turning them on and off. That is currently on the prop. So there's animation on the prop. It shouldn't be on the prop. It should be on the character. You know who told me this? Pablo.
Well, I'm finishing things up with the pipeline, so finally I got to actually move on to the material pipeline. Set up the basics for that already last week, but now it's actually getting to the nitty-gritty of setting up the shader on the Blender side and then syncing that up to the Godot side with the import, so we can have a representation of the shader in Blender with some additional things that happen in Godot and communicate the information from one to the other. So we can have some color of the paper shimmering through at the edges to indicate some wear, and then create the details of that in Blender and in Godot it automatically gets picked up. Besides that, I've been working a bit on some other things. I'll be giving a workshop at a conference in April, the Everything Procedural Conference in Breda. That's going to be a 2-day workshop of showing people how to use geometry nodes for setting up some procedural environment stuff, and that needs a little bit of preparation. So I'm kind of splitting my time between these things to make it work already.
In the meantime, I'm gonna be hyper-focused on all the essential gameplay ingredients that are still missing. All the different kinds of interactions that you can do as the dog and the kid. Also, the broader challenge of the game. There's something going on there with, basically, we call it the karma meter. It's like how antagonistic you're playing or how nice you are to the kid should have an effect on how the game plays out. We also are soon getting a composer, so getting more sound design, getting more music will really help to make the game feel more whole.